They say some stories begin with a kiss, others with a farewell. Ours began with a broken clock. On a cloudy October 4th morning, Clara ran through the train station platform, clutching her books to her chest, her hair tied up in a messy bun. It was just another Tuesday, but for some reason, time seemed to be moving slower that day. The old clock at Central Station had stopped. Its hands had been stuck at 8:14 since dawn. Clara bumped into a man who also seemed to be in a rush. They both fell to the ground. Books flew, papers scattered. "I'm so sorry," she said, crouching to help him. "It was my fault," he replied, smiling, with a slight French accent she noticed immediately. His name? Theo. He had eyes that didn't know how to lie, and hands that handled books with the care she'd only seen from literature professors. The conversation lasted less than 2 minutes, but there, among wrinkled pages and shy glances, something was born that neither of them could explain. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was a silent invitation from fate. The train arrived, and he got on. She stayed behind, but just before the door closed, Theo looked at Clara as if to say, "I'll come back for you." And in that instant, as the train pulled away, the clock at the station began to tick again. In the days that followed, Clara started arriving earlier at the station. She told herself it was for the coffee at the corner cafe. But deep down, it was for the chance. She didn't know his last name, nor where he had gone, but she remembered his eyes, his smile, and the silence between them, filled with promises. On the third morning, the station clock stopped again, exactly at 8:14. Her heart skipped a beat. She looked around, trying not to seem obvious, and then, as if time enjoyed playing with destiny, Theo stepped off the same train he had once taken. "I looked for you," he said, slightly out of breath. She laughed nervously. "And you found me here, as if it were easy. The clock told me where you'd be." It was the beginning of something beyond words. They began meeting at the same time, every day. No plans, no messages. It was as if the world paused, just so they could exist together. They talked about books, old movies, silly fears, and dreams that felt too big for real life, and each morning felt heavier, more sacred, as if time were moving deliberately. Clara started to fear the days when the clock worked normally, because that meant he wouldn't come. But that month, the clock stopped often, and every time it did, Theo appeared too, as if the minutes knew they were being saved for them. There's a kind of silence that doesn't feel empty. It feels full, like it's holding its breath. That's what it was like between Clara and Theo. They never talked about feelings, never asked questions that could break the rhythm of their mornings. It was safer that way, like walking on a rope of golden thread stretched between now and the unknown. One morning, Theo arrived carrying 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to her with a quiet smile. "Black, no sugar," he said. She raised an eyebrow. "You remember?" "I remember everything," he replied. They sat on the same bench, shoulders almost touching, but not quite. Clara stared ahead, eyes fixed on the moving trains. Theo, on the other hand, looked at her. Not like a man in love, but like someone who was trying to memorize a moment he knew he'd one day lose. "I might have to go away again," he said, almost whispering. Her grip on the coffee cup tightened. "For long?" He didn't answer right away, and in that silence, she understood. This wasn't just about work or life. There was something deeper keeping him from staying, something unspoken. Clara turned to him. "Then why come back at all?" His answer came slow. "Because even one more minute with you is worth the pain of missing 1,000. And that morning, the clock at the station didn't stop. But time did. Some truths don't come with fireworks. They arrive slowly, in quiet gestures, sideways glances, and moments when no one's watching. Weeks passed. The meetings continued. No messages, no plans, only presence. One rainy morning, Clara arrived soaked. The umbrella had given up halfway, and her hair clung to her face. She looked frustrated, breathless, beautiful. Theo laughed as soon as he saw her. She rolled her eyes. Don't say it. I wasn't going to. You were. He smiled. Fine, I was. You look like a soaked heroine in a French film. Clara bit her lip to hide the smile, trying to escape. They sat together on the bench, her coat dripping. He took off his scarf and gently wrapped it around her shoulders. She froze. It was such a simple gesture, but it said everything they hadn't dared to speak. I wish this didn't have to end, she whispered. Theo looked at her. There was no smile this time. I never said it had to. Silence. She looked at the floor. He looked at her, and the clock above them ticked. Relentlessly. He reached into his coat pocket, hesitated, then pulled out a small folded paper. I was going to leave this for you, if I didn't have the courage. He handed it to her. It was a plane ticket, to Paris, in her name. And at the bottom, handwritten in shaky ink, will you come with me? Clara didn't answer right away. She couldn't. Her eyes were fixed on the plane ticket, her mind spinning faster than the trains pulling in and out of the station. Paris, a city she had only seen in books and dreams, a future she hadn't dared to imagine. Until now. Theo watched her in silence. He wasn't nervous, just quiet, like a man who had already accepted every possible answer. I can't, she whispered. His eyes didn't flinch. Because you don't want to? Or because you're afraid? She looked at him, and in that glance, he saw everything. The weight of her past, the roots she had grown without meaning to, the fear of leaving behind who she used to be. I'm not ready, she said. I don't need you ready, he replied gently. I just need you next to me. But even the most beautiful truths sometimes arrive too early. She stood up. I have to go. He didn't stop her. He only nodded once. And in that gesture, she felt something inside her break. As she walked away, the station noise faded behind her. All she could hear was the ticking of the clock above, louder than ever. Tick, 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 like the sound of two heartbeats trying not to drift apart. That day, the clock didn't stop, but something in her did. The days after felt empty. Clara still went to the station, but not at 08:14. She arrived later, or earlier, always avoiding the moment where time used to pause. The bench where they sat was now just a bench. The clock above ticked as it always had, precise, indifferent. But inside her, something was off. The world moved normally, but she didn't. Every sound seemed distant. Every step, heavier. She tried to return to her old life, her routines, her books, her carefully built solitude. But nothing fit anymore. One morning, she found herself at the station at the exact time, 08:14, without meaning to. And when she looked at the bench, he wasn't there. Of course he wasn't. He had offered everything. And she had said no. She sat down, alone, the echo of what could have been pressing against her chest. Inside her coat pocket, the ticket still rested, folded, creased, but untouched. She opened it, read the date again. The plane was leaving that night. Her heart started racing. She stood, then sat again, then stood. Sometimes the hardest part isn't the leap, it's the first step. And just as she began to walk away, a voice came from behind. Still deciding? She turned. Theo stood there. Same coat, same eyes, but this time, carrying no expectations, only hope. Clara didn't know what to say. She just stared at him, as if blinking might make him disappear. Theo took a step forward, careful not to scare the moment away. I didn't come to change your mind, he said. She raised an eyebrow. No? He smiled softly. No, I came to say thank you. For what? For showing me that even the briefest love can be the loudest. She felt her breath catch. But you're still leaving? I have to. He nodded. But I'll board that plane knowing you exist. And that, somehow, is enough. The silence between them stretched again. Not empty, but trembling. She took a step toward him. Her voice came low, fragile. What if I don't want you to go? He looked at her, not smiling this time. Then say it. Her hands trembled. The ticket was still in her pocket. Say it. Say it. But the words refused to come. Her eyes filled. Her mouth opened. Nothing. I'm scared. I know, he said gently. So am I. He reached for her hand, and this time, she didn't pull away. The station's loudspeaker crackled overhead. Last call for Flight 802 to Paris. He squeezed her hand once, slowly. I'll wait 5 minutes, he said. If the clock stops again, I'll know. He turned and walked toward the exit, and Clara stood completely still, alone, with 5 minutes between her and forever. Clara didn't move. People passed. Trains came and went. But she remained, staring at the clock like it held the answer she couldn't find within herself. 08:14. Still ticking. Her heart beat so loudly it drowned out the noise around her. She looked at the gate where Theo had vanished. He said 5 minutes. He didn't ask for more, just 5. She pulled the ticket from her pocket again, smoothed its edges with shaking fingers. I don't want a perfect life, she whispered. I want our life. She ran, through the station, past people, past the bench, past the hesitation that had held her for so long, up the stairs, toward the departure terminal. And there he was, standing beside the boarding gate, just turning to leave. Theo! He stopped, turned slowly, saw her, flushed, breathless, alive. I'm here, she said, stepping closer. I'm scared, but I'm more scared of never knowing what we could be. He smiled, and in that smile, time did something strange. The airport clock flickered, paused, for just a moment. 08:14. And in that silence, he reached into his coat, pulled out a small box, opened it. Inside, a ring, simple, delicate, timeless. I didn't bring this because I thought you'd say yes, he said. I brought it in case time ever stopped again. Clara didn't cry. She laughed, softly, brightly. Yes, if this story touched your heart in any way, if you believe that love can stop time, even for just a moment, then like this video and subscribe to the channel. Here, every story is crafted with soul, to move you, inspire you, and make you believe once again that the impossible can happen. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next chapters of life, and tell me in the comments, would you have gotten on that train?